Hey friends, how are you? Hope you're well and you've had a good week. Mine's been not bad. Been productive, which is good. Uni work is going okay. I saw my supervisor yesterday, or didn't see him. I did see him, but it was like a Teams chat, and we got a few things sorted out, so that was good. Spent this morning printing out papers that I need to read, and I actually started reading one of them, so that was good to do. Set up, what else have I done this week? Set up the new printer, so I'm well chuffed with myself that I got that done. I was also through uni this week, just a quick in and out, just to clear my desk, because a lot of the offices are now going to kind of hot desking, so it was, since I'm not there, it seemed, and I'm working from home, it seemed the right time to just go and clear my stuff out of the office. So bittersweet. Sad that, so I was saying to my supervisor and friends, it's sad that I'm not coming away with what I wanted to come away with from university, but I'm still coming away with something. So that's important to always keep that in mind, that the journey was not the one I'm not finishing the same journey as the one I started, but I'm still finishing a journey, if that makes sense. So that's the positive to always keep from that life doesn't always go the way you want it. Things are always going to happen. You're going to have to change course or whatever, but hey, that's life. You learn from it, you get on and do the next thing. And that's, what I'm doing now is positive, and where I hope to go will be positive. So that's a good. Reading this week has been whoa. I've done more reading than I thought I would do. So I think I started and finished, I don't know if I talked to you about this one, but Christmas in Bayberry by Jennifer Faye. I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. So in this we meet Kate, who is helping to run the Bayberry candle company. And it's in financial difficulty. And her aunt has a friend whose son is one of these kind of businessmen that helps work out how businesses who are in trouble can either get back on their feet or provide a way for them to sell the business. So Wesley comes to town. Now, Wesley used to live in Bayberry when he was a child, for one year, and he'd actually had a crush on Kate, but she didn't do it. She didn't sort of move in his circles, as it were. So nothing ever happened. He was going to ask her to, they have a candlelit dinner dance every year, and he was going to ask her to that, and just before he asked her, they moved on. Both characters have a lot of decisions to make and growth as well within the book, which was really nice to see. You got to see how Kate encouraged Wes to become involved within the community by doing various things with her, and their relationship from there grew. It was beautiful, and I also really liked the fact it was a clean romance. I don't mind the spice, but this was clean, and it was just really, really sweet. So yeah, I would recommend. I then thought, well, I've only got a couple of days until the start of February, so what will I pick up? So I'd been sent 2 books by the author, because I won them in a giveaway. So the first one I read was Her One Night Proposal by Katherine Garbera. This is a Harlequin Desire number 27. Hold on till we get the spectacles on to actually read said number. I think it's 2780. So in this we meet Iris. Now Iris is a social media influencer, okay? She runs a blog. She also has a TV segment as well. And she's dating this guy Graham. Now, from the little we sort of heard about him, I didn't particularly care for him. But he finishes with Iris by text. And her sister sort of dares her basically to advertise for a guy to spend a weekend with her because she's going to a wedding, a society wedding, and she's doing various bits for her blog, for TV. At the wedding, she's also one of the bridesmaids. But she's like, nah, no, don't really like that idea. But she walks into this bar and sees this guy and walks over to him, and they get chatting. And basically, she gives him a proposal. So we meet Zach. Zach is the guy. Zach is in Boston trying to get money or investors for his America's Cup sailing run to design the boat, etc. And Iris thinks that her father might be interested in investing, as is she. And basically the proposal is, if you come to the wedding with me, I'll invest. The interesting thing is that Zach is the cousin of the girl that's getting married. So there is that connection as well. And his family is a bit competitive, I think the word would be, and there's expectations, etc. Iris's family are not quite, they're not sort of competitive, but yes, there are expectations, but they're more, in some ways I would say they're more loving. So this is the story of Iris and Zach and what happens to them during the time that they are in Nantucket for the wedding. It's like, will they just stick to the proposal, or will a more long-term relationship ensue? I really enjoyed it. There was some spice in this, but it wasn't overtly spicy, which was nice. My first Desire novel. I think I'd probably be picking them up again. I will definitely pick up the sequel to this book because it was left in a cliffhanger and I want to know what happens next. So I will definitely be picking up the next one in this series, but I did enjoy it. Then I thought I'd pick up the next one that she'd sent me, and this is a Blaze novel, and this is Under the Mistletoe, again by Katherine Garbera. I did enjoy this one. It was more spicy than the Dare, and I'm not too sure that I was totally comfortable with the amount of spice. I'm not a prude, but there was, shall we say, a bit more spice than story in this one. But I still like the story. The story in this one is that Will has come to Lars Ostern Lodge in Utah for a Christmas break. And he's just needing a break, doesn't want to do anything very much, and just wants to basically spend time on his own. But then he meets Penny, or at least he meets Penny by Penny throwing her phone out her cabin door and almost hitting him in the head. And there's a wee bit of sizzle. They go for dinner that night, and he basically proposes that they have a two-week Christmas fling. And she's up for that because she's just come out of a relationship where it wasn't good, and she thinks that this could be just a nice way to have some time at Christmas. But as the story progresses, we learn more about her story and more about his story, and they begin to share things about their lives that maybe they wouldn't normally have shared because they think, well, this is only with 2 weeks. But in the sharing, they kind of think, well, actually, is this for 2 weeks, or can we walk away? And it's their battle as to what are they going to do. And that part of the story was really well written. It was like you could see the conflict, you could see, getting to know the characters and them getting to know each other. You could see it going, oh my goodness, do I just want to walk away at 2 weeks? Can I walk away at 2 weeks? So it was really nicely done, and I did enjoy it, but just maybe slightly too spicy. So my first book that I read in February was Diary of a War Bride by Lauri Robinson. I heard Sarah the Bookish Knitter talk about this, and I thought, this could be quite nice. This is a Mills and Boon historical. I am not a great one at times for historicals, but I would like to read more historicals, and this one was so well done. We meet, oh goodness gracious me, Katherine, I think her name is. Hold on 1 minute. Yes, Katherine. And Katherine has been evacuated from London to this small village in England to help a couple look after evacuated children. And she really enjoys it. There comes to the village, to the airbase near them, American pilots, etc. And one day she is cycling to the village to give a delivery to the local pub of things like milk, eggs, etc., etc. And a plane basically comes in really, really low, and she gets so frightened she gets knocked off her bike. Along comes this jeep with 2 American Air Forcemen in it, and they try to help her, and she is pretty snappy at them. But one of them decides he has to, obviously pay her for the damaged goods, etc., but she won't take it. So later that day he comes to the house and tries to get her to take the money, and she won't. So he does something that slightly endears him to her, and they keep kind of meeting in the village. And then he's sort of told by his senior officers, don't have a relationship, etc., etc. But they're just really drawn to each other, and they start spending time together. And then he is shipped off to another base, and she is like, I've got to try and, I want to follow him. So she goes back to London to see her father, who's high up, and says, I want to be transferred too. And her father's like not happy about it. But it happens to be that the American Air Forceman is also in London at that point in a meeting, and he actually ends up meeting her father. And her father goes, right, you got a furlough of 2 days, you're coming back to stay with us, and you're going to convince my daughter not to be changed from where she is and go back to where she was. He thinks so Dale does this, and he thinks he's made a good job of it, and then he goes back to, while he's there, something happens and he ends up being shipped out. Something happens to him in the process, and they find out that he is being shipped back to America. And it's like, what does she do next? I am not going to say any more, but it was so well written, and I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the situation. I'm not one big one for a World War II book, but I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed this one and would recommend. So I meant to say that this book plus the one I'm about to talk to are the 2 picks for my physical TBR bingo that was run by Sarah the Bookish Knitter. So the second book I'm reading is Starting Over at Blueberry Creek by Annie Rains. Excuse me a minute. I'm 70 pages into this, really, really enjoying it. Small town America, so yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying that one. I'll say more about that once I've finished it. And then I'm also listening to the 5th book of the Poppy Creek series by Rachael Bloome. Is it Faith and Flowers, I think it's called, The Faith and Flowers. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm listening to it at night, and it's just really nice to be sitting or lying in my bed having somebody read me a story. So that has been good. So that's kind of my reading for this week. I have got one book to show you. On Monday we decided we wanted to go out for the day because it was just like, we just needed to get out of the house, all of us. I did some work in the morning, and then I went down to Peebles, and there's this lovely little bookshop in Peebles. And I've heard lots of people talk about this book, and actually text my friend Beth from Soul Stained Ink and said, have you read this book? What did you think? She went, I loved it. So I ended up buying Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. I know I said I wasn't going to buy anything, but hey. Oh, it's got like bits. It has, oh, that's quite nice. You got little, you have divider bits. Interesting. So yes, I'm looking forward to reading that. When I'll get to it, I don't know. But it's now on my TBR pile. I am actually very well moving through my TBR pile. And I hope to get a lot of it down. But quite a number of it is Christmas books. Whether I sort of keep reading Christmas books throughout the year or not, I don't know, but we'll see. Anyway, that's kind of all my reading bits done. What else am I going to do this weekend? Well, I'll finish that book. I will hopefully get another couple of videos recorded this weekend. I've got some book reviews I want to record. Get them done. Rugby this weekend, obviously. The Six Nations start, so that'll be nice. That's definitely what I'll be watching this weekend. There'll probably be rugby tonight, pro URC games, so or United Rugby Championship games. So probably watch one of those. I have a letter to write to a friend, so I will do that. But that's kind of going to be my weekend. Please let me know down below if you've read any of these books or if you want to read any of them. What have you been reading the last week and what are you going to be reading this weekend? It would be really nice to know. And do you have any plans for the weekend? But yeah, that's it for this video, friends. I hope you've enjoyed. Please hit that subscribe button and give this a thumbs up if you'd like to. But yeah, until my next video, friends, stay safe and happy reading. Bye.